Hi Simbi, my name is Amy and I'm here with a story for you today and it is called Foster Dog. Our granddad had an old dog called Molly and granddad and Molly were best friends. They walked in the park together nearly every day and sometimes I went with them. Run Molly, run, shouted granddad, but Molly was too old to run. When granddad dug in the garden, Molly lay on the grass and watched him. Here Molly, catch, called granddad, throwing a stick in the air. But Molly just wagged her tail and looked at the stick. Grandad was worried. He knew Molly was sick. He rubbed her head. What will I do without you, old girl? He whispered. And Molly just licked his hand. And then one night, Molly died. We helped Grandad to bury her. And Dad dug a deep hole and Grandad gently put Molly in it and then they covered her with earth. Mum and I planted some flowers on the top. We were all sad because our whole family loved Molly. And after that, Grandad didn't bother going to the park anymore and he sat in the sun a lot and looked old and unhappy. And one day, Mum said, "Why don't you get a new dog?" "I'm too old for a new dog. If I died, the dog would be left all alone." And then he smiled at Mum. "I'm all right," he said. "You don't need to worry about me. I miss Molly, but I'm all right." And a few days later, we all went to see Grandad. "We've got an idea," Mum told him. "Our family would love a dog, but not yet. And when the baby is older, perhaps, but not yet." So Grandad looked interested. "When, what say we get a dog," Dad suggested, "and you look after it for us?" And Grandad looked very interested and he thought for a minute. "Do you know, I think that could work," he said. "I'd like to have a dog around the place again to take me for walks. And this way, when you're ready, or I'm too old, the dog would have a home to go to." He grinned. "Let's do it." So we found just the right dog the next week. He didn't look like a Molly at all, but we liked him straight away. And Grandad knelt down and started to pat him and talk to him. "Going to be your dog, is he, Mr. Wilson?" asked the lady at the kennels, and Grandad laughed. "Well, let's say he'll be my foster dog." So Grandad and Foster became good friends. They walked in the park together every day, and sometimes I went with them. "Run, Foster, run," shouted Grandad, but Foster was already running. And when Grandad dug the garden, Foster got in the way and tried to dig too. And Grandad threw sticks for him, and Foster caught him in his mouth, and Grandad laughed and looked happy again. I helped him look after Foster, and I took Foster for walks if Grandad wasn't up to it, and we became good friends. "He's really your dog, don't forget," said Grandad. And one day I heard Mum and Dad talking. "We need a bigger house," Mum said, "now the baby's walking. There just doesn't seem to be enough room. Let's start looking." And I was excited because a bigger house would mean we'd have room for Foster. But then I thought, what about Grandad? He told me once Foster kept him going. But Mum and Dad have been thinking about Grandad too. And a week later we went to see him. "We want to talk to you about something, Dad," Mum said. "Time's come for us to get a bigger house," and Grandad rubbed his nose. "I see," he said. "You've come to talk about the dog because you'll have room for Foster." "Yeah, we will, but that's not why we've come." "It's all right," said Grandad. "That was the arrangement." "Actually, Dad, there's more to it than that," Mum said to him. "We saw a place yesterday that we'd like you to look at with us. Would you like to come and see it?" So Grandad and Foster came in the car. "Come on," said Dad when we got there. "I've got the key. The agent said we can come for another look." "Big garden," said Grandad as he walked through the gate. "Yeah, shame I'm not a good gardener," said Dad. And we went in the house. Quite nice, I suppose," said Grandad. "I can see a few things that need fixing. Suppose you're not keen on that either." And both men laughed. And we looked in all the rooms and around the yard. "Well," Grandad rubbed his nose again, "I think Foster would like it here. I saw a good place over there for his kennel. The house is a bit big though, don't you think?" I was nearly bursting with excitement and Mum gave me a nod. Grandad, we want to ask you something. See this room here with its own bathroom and everything? Well, when Foster comes to live with us, will you come and live here too, please, Grandad?" And Grandad looked at me and then he looked at Dad and Mum. "Oh, I'd like that very much," Mum said. And Grandad looked surprised. "Would you really?" And he looked away and looked down at Foster, and his eyes filled with tears. Slowly, a big smile spread across Grandad's face, and I couldn't be sure. I think Foster was smiling too. And that's it of the story. See you later.